Julius Caesar, perhaps the most famous name among the Romans, is often romanticized as the lover of Cleopatra. In Shakespeare, Julius Caesar, as in much of popular history, he stands as a towering figure of power and intrigue. Suetonius, the Roman historian, begins his work, The 12 Caesars, with the life of Caesar, also known as Kaiser in some traditions. The history I will explore in this video is drawn entirely from Suetonius' accounts. Julius Caesar, referred to by Suetonius as the Divine, earned his title through a lineage and legend that traced back to Rome's mythical founder, Romulus. Romulus was believed to have been taken up into the heavens and deified as Quirinius after his mysterious disappearance, an act of divine elevation that would later influence how Caesar's own legacy was shaped, especially amidst political conspiracies. At just 17, a year after his father's death, Caesar was nominated for the prestigious office of High Priest of Jupiter. Around this time, he married Cassiusa, a girl from a respected family. According to Suetonius, she was the first woman with whom Caesar had a relationship, though many would follow. There was a conflict between Sulla, a leading figure among the nobles, and Marius, another powerful aristocrat. This conflict placed Caesar in a difficult position. Sulla, suspecting that Caesar was aligned with Marius, who had married Caesar's aunt, forced Caesar to divorce his wife. This episode also gave rise to a famous remark about Caesar. When some of Sulla's friends pleaded on Caesar's behalf, Sulla reluctantly spared him but warned, "This young man, for whose safety you are so concerned, will one day bring ruin to the party of nobles that you and I are united in defending." In this Caesar you will find many a Marius. Marius here referred to Sulla's political rival. This was the first significant prediction about Caesar, and it would eventually come true, though many more were still to follow. There are various accounts of Caesar's early political and military life, his service in Mytilene, Cilicia, and Rhodes. One story also tells of how he was captured by pirates. After being ransomed and released, Caesar returned to punish them with the very same threats they had once used to terrify him. Caesar's first major achievement was being elected as a military tribune. Around this time, or shortly after, he delivered funeral speeches for both his aunt Julia and his wife Cornelia. In this speech for his aunt, we find a significant moment where the young Caesar begins to craft an image of divine legitimacy, faintly presenting himself as someone destined for power. The words, he said, were as follows: "My aunt Julia traced her lineage on her mother's side to a line of kings, and on her father's side to the immortal gods." He went further, referencing his own divine ancestry by claiming descent from Venus, declaring himself a branch of the divine line. This speech of Caesar stands as one of the earliest expressions of his broader ambitions, an early glimpse of the grand image he would continue to shape, which would fully unfold after two major events that I will discuss later in this video. Following the death of his wife Cornelia, Caesar married another woman, Pompeia, the daughter of Quintius Pompeius. However, this marriage was short-lived. He divorced her under suspicion that she had been involved in a scandalous affair with a man named Publius Claudius. Now we come to two particularly significant events in Caesar's life, perhaps the most important events that transformed him from a young Roman noble into a man with dreams of global conquest. These took place when he was traveling through the region of Gades, modern-day area located in Spain, a part of the world also mentioned in Plato's Critias. While there, Caesar visited the temple of Heracles and saw a statue of Alexander the Great. Upon seeing it, he sighed deeply, struck by a powerful realization. At the same age, Alexander had already conquered much of the known world, while Caesar himself had to accomplish anything truly remarkable. This moment is often seen as a turning point in Caesar's life, a moment of reckoning that awakened his ambition. From here on, the course of his destiny began to shift, and as history shows us, everything that followed was just the beginning of his rise. This was the first incident of note, especially when compared to the second one that followed, which Caesar took as a divine sign that he was destined for greatness. In the stillness of the night after the earlier event, he had a strange and troubling dream. He lay with his own mother. The image disturbed him. After all, such acts belong to myth, like those of Sophocles or Aristophanes, and not to reality. But his confusion was dispelled when the dream was interpreted as an omen. It meant that he was destined to rule a universal empire, for the mother in his dream was none other than the earth itself, the common mother of all humankind. After this, several conspiracies unfold involving Caesar in various ways. Some plots were futile and failed, while many others succeeded. Eventually, Caesar turned his attention to Egypt, aiming to bring it under his control as a province. The extraordinary justification for this move was that the Alexandrians had expelled their king, Ptolemy Euletus, the father of Cleopatra. However, Caesar ultimately failed to secure Egypt as a province. Losing hope of achieving this, he instead sought the position of chief pontiff. This is the part of history where we see Caesar grow from a youth of 17 into a bold man, a politician, skilled in every manner, emerging almost like a divine figure. Suetonius goes on to tell us more, but this marks the beginning of a period of great significance, which I have discussed here. I will go into much more detail about what happened after he was elected pontiff. There is a memorable moment where, as he was leaving his house, his mother kissed him and said he would return unless he was appointed pontiff, which in the end came true. He left behind two of his most powerful competitors, both older and more experienced, by such a margin that he secured more votes within their own tribes than they had combined across all tribes. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. These videos are divided into parts, and the next one will pick up right where this one ends. I hope you enjoyed it.